Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajananandin Matvalikam Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujugam Shri Jiva Gopalakam Krishna Kirtana Gana Natana Param Premamritam Vanidhi Sri Chaitanya Kripabhano Bhuvi Bhuva Bharabahantarakam Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujagam Sri Jiva Gopalakam Sri Gauranga Gunanudandana Vidhau Sadhyasamidharnitam Papatrapanikantana Tanamitam Govinda Gana Amritayi Sri Gauranga Gunanubandana Vidhau Sadhyasamidharnitam Papatrapanikantana Tanamitam Govinda Gana Amritayi Anandambudibardhanai Kanikranam Kaivallaniswarakam Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujugam Shri Jiva Gopalakam Krishna Kirtana Gana
Your microphone is off.
Prabhu, is it working? The volume?
Yes, Prabhu.
It is working. Okay, thank you very much. Little bit of technology interruption today before we begin our program, but this is to be expected. There's always some kind of problem in the material world going on for everyone and everything. This is the nature of material life. Actually, the conditioned soul is subjected to 4 defects. We have a tendency to cheat, to be illusion. Prabhupada explains our senses are imperfect and we commit mistakes. So this is the nature of material life, that all of us are under these conditions. And because of that, it's very difficult to make it advancement in the human form of life. It is possible by association with a pure devotee of Krishna. Śrīla Prabhupāda came from India aboard the Jaladuta to deliver this message of spiritual understanding to people in the West who had little or no knowledge of spiritual life. Sure, they had some sentiment that God exists. Yes, that's good. But who is God and how to get out of this entanglement of the material world requires an expert spiritual master. Just like if you have a serious disease, in order to get it cured, you have to go to the surgeon. And the expert surgeon can solve the problem with his expertise. So in the same way, we are in a disease condition here in the material world, and it can be resolved through the expert guidance of the pure devotee. This is the mystery of spiritual life. Prabhupada, I was listening this morning to a lecture from Śrīla Prabhupāda, and he was saying that Krishna consciousness is a mystery for the conditioned soul. In order to solve the mystery, you need the help of an expert spiritual master. And in this way, you become enlightened and eventually liberated from the perils of life, birth, death, disease, and old age, which are concomitant with material existence. No one can avoid getting old. Nobody can avoid becoming diseased. So many diseases. And any kind of circumstance can come in your life without warning, that all of a sudden you get up, you don't feel right. All of a sudden, you have a heart attack. All of a sudden, you get the announcement, oh, you have cancer. So nobody wants that. And then when you hear it, you think, oh my God, what am I going to do? What should I do? Well, the answer is that one should prepare himself or her as we move forward in time for these inevitable situations that will come upon us due to the nature of material existence. And the best way to deal with it, Prabhupada's given us the remedy. To chant the holy names every day without fail. Sometimes people get upset with us, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. They say, how come you're running this Krishna conscious boot camp? This was some devotee made a comment like that. How come you're telling people they should chant 16 rounds a day? That's something that you promise when you take initiation from the spiritual master. It's not something that I'm saying or Yaśoda or any of our members are saying. This is something that's given to us by oath. It's an oath. If you decide you're going to take initiation from the pure devotee, it's the oath of allegiance. And in this way, you make a commitment for whose benefit? For your benefit, not for anyone else. It's your individual choice. Prabhupada was saying, Prabhu, in a lecture recently that I was listening to, that I have in my car, and Prabhupada saying, if a person wants to make advancement in spiritual life, they have to be very serious about it. It's not something you can just whimsically do. It's something you have to be very serious very serious and inquisitive. You have to want to know what is the mystery of spiritual life, the mystery of liberation from the material world. You have to be serious. So people are going, well, it's a boot camp. No, it's not a boot camp. We're not managing anybody, micromanaging anyone. Like on this call, we have so many wonderful devotees. No one has a secret camera in your room going, oh, you're not chanting your rounds. We're not doing that. We're not interested in that, actually. Not even remotely. It's up to each individual person to decide for themselves how they want to utilize their time. Like we take our time to produce these shows, these classes. We've been operating them for over a year now. And basically the focus of the program is to hear the philosophy, because that's another remedy for material confusion. The mystery of material life becomes revealed through the association of devotees. Sadhu Sangha doesn't become revealed just by you make it up in your mind like so many people do. They just concoct things. There is no concoction here. We're repeating the philosophy of Krishna consciousness as Prabhupada taught all of his disciples. This has been going on since he started the mission. This is not something new that we've concocted to for whatever personal motive. This is simply the process. And I know all of us enjoy this opportunity to hear about Krishna consciousness from the bona fide books of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. And Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu always comments to me or to our group, he'll say, it's not that we're repeating this message because we've got some agenda. No, we're only repeating because this is the truth. If the truth will set you free. If it's contaminated, just like milk is pure, but if you add urine to the milk, it becomes contaminated. So in the same way, when people change the books, when they change the philosophy, which is going on every day by certain individuals, then this is not the proper method of Krishna consciousness that Prabhupada gave us. And he went through great austerity to do that in his journey on the Jaladuta to America. And if we can, Rupesh, I know he's working today as our fill-in production manager, while Vinkat Bhatta is on his way through South India with some devotees from Mexico. Is it possible, Prabhu, you can put up the diary of Śrīla Prabhupāda on the screen with the pictures I sent? So here we have, looks like we've got into, oh, no, it's not. Well, I'm not sure where you are. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's correct. So what we're seeing in this diary is like on the 14th of November, there are very few entries. Prabhupada is moving along from Butler, Pennsylvania. He's planning to get to New York City to continue on with his work. And so on the 14th and the 28th of November, there are a couple of messages. There was a meeting at New India House, God Consciousness, under the auspices of the Tagore Society of New York. And then I showed these memorandums. We're at a different section here, brother. of Prabhupada's addresses and phone numbers. So I took the pictures of those, and they're in the memorandum. If you by chance have the book, let's see what we've got here. Okay, I see you've got page 66. If you go back to page 65 and 64, you'll be able to see, yeah, there we are. Oh, there's a bookmark from our friend Prakrita in Montreal on my desk there. So here we see the list of contact information. I think all of us do make lists like this if you're organized in some particular manner. But you see how Prabhupada has cataloged all his information. Of course, back then we didn't have the sophistication of computers like we do these days. But at the same time, it's still a manual system that's very effective for keeping a catalog of contacts for you in terms of what you're doing. So he's got the phone numbers written down there, and all the information that he's keeping to and see the beautiful writing. So Prabhupada has written these items with his own pen, and it's a very enlivening thing to see Prabhupada working like this and showing methodically how he was executing the order of his spiritual master in those early years of spreading Krishna consciousness. And it evolved, and Prabhupada built momentum, and we see in all the pictures in our videos and that all the people that are coming around Prabhupada in the early years and attracted to him, like the bees attracted to the honey. And in this way, the movement started to proliferate after spending so much effort in bringing this philosophy, this mystery, to the eager souls here in the Western world. So we'll move forward now with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, the bhajan given by Prabhupada before each class, such a beautiful thing. And then after that, we'll have the discussions, reading and discussion, headed up by His Grace Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu in Twain Harte, California. All glories to the Sankirtan movement.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Samad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupāda ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavindra ki jai. Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giridham ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the Son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya, Narayanam namaskritya, Naram cheva narottamam, Naram cheva narottamam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam, Tato Jayam Mudirayet, Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, after offering respectful obeisances to the personality of Godhead Narayana. 2. To the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being. 3. To the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. Then 4. To Śrīla Vyasadeva, the author. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. As with every week, we read a few verses from the first canto, second chapter, to explain the meaning and benefits of hearing the message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. This is from Canto 1, Chapter 2, text number 17. I will repeat one line, and you may also repeat the following line. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam svakata Krishna, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam svakataha Krishna, Punyashravana kirtanaha, Punyashravana kirtanaha, Hridyantasto hyabadrani, Hridyantasto hyabadrani, Vidunoti suritsatam, Vidunoti suritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, does cleanse the desire for material enjoyment in the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge for hearing his, Krishna's messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Text number 18. Nashta prayeshu vabhadreshu, Nashta prayeshu vabhadreshu, Nityam Bhagavata Sevayam, Nityam Bhagavata Sevayam, Bhagavati Uttama Shloke, Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. By regular attendance in the Bhagavatam class or rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious in the heart of a candidate becomes destroyed almost to nil, and thus loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, comes into being an irrevocable fact. Text 19. Tadarajastamo bhava Tadarajastamo bhava Kama lobhadayaschaye Kama lobhadayaschaye Cheta iterana viddam Cheta iterana viddam Stitam sattve prasidati Stitam sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is fixed up in one's heart, at that time the effects of the nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire and hankerings, etc., do disappear from one's heart, and he becomes fixed up in the mode of goodness, which makes him completely happy. Text number 20. Evam prasanna manaso Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayati. Thus, when one is positively fixed up in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the enlivened-minded man affected by contact of devotional service of the Lord can positively know scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Again, welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We are reading from the 1962 New Delhi edition. All synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Today we will be reading from Canto 1, Chapter 4, text number 2 and 3. Shonaka uvacha Sutta Sutta Mahabhaga Vadano Vadatam Vara Katam Bhagavatim Punyam Yadaha Bhagavan Sukha Sutta, O Sutta Goswami, Mahabhaga, the most fortunate. Vada, please speak. No, unto us. Vadatam, of those who can speak. Vara, respectful. Katam, message. Bhagavatim, of the Bhagavatam. Punyam, pious. Yad, which. Aha, said. Bhagavan, greatly powerful. Shuka, Sri Shukadev Goswami. Sonaka said, O Sutta Goswami, you are the most fortunate and the most respectful of all those who can speak and recite. Please speak to us the pious message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which was spoken by the great powerful sage Shukadeva Goswami. Purport by His Divine Grace, Śrīla Prabhupāda. Sutta Goswami is addressed herein by Sonaka Goswami 2 times out of great joy, because he and the members of the assembly were eager to hear the text of Bhagavatam uttered by Shukadeva Goswami. They are not interested to hear Bhagavatam from a bogus person who interprets in his own way to suit his own purpose. Generally, the so-called Bhagavatam reciters are either professional traders in Bhagavatam, or they are so-called learned impersonalists who cannot enter into the transcendental personal activities of the Supreme Person. Such impersonalists choose some meaning out of Bhagavatam to suit and support the impersonalist views, and the professional traders at once go to the 10th canto to misexplain the most confidential part of the Lord's pastimes. Both these classes of Bhagavatam reciters are not the bona fide persons to recite Bhagavatam. Only one who is prepared to present Bhagavatam in the light of Shukadeva Goswami, and only those who are prepared to hear Shukadeva Goswami, then his representative, are bona fide participants in the transcendental discussion of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Kasmin yuge pravritteyam staneva kenahetuna kutaha sanchoditaha Krishnaha kritavam samitam munihi. Kasmin, in which yuge, period, pravritteyam, was this begun, stane, in the place, va, or, kena, on what, etuna, ground, kutaha, wherefrom, sanchoditaha, inspired by, Krishna Dvaipayana, Vyasa, Kritavam, compiled, Samhitam, Vedic literature, Munihi, the learned. Translation. Sonakar inquired in which period this was first begun, at which place it was so done, or on what reason this was taken up, wherefrom Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa, the great sage, got the inspiration to compile the literature. Purport. As Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the special contribution of Śrīla Vyasadeva, so there are so many inquiries by the learned Sonaka Muni. It was known to them that Śrīla Vyasadeva had already explained the text of the Veda in various ways up to Mahabharata for the understanding of less intelligent women, Shudras, and fallen members of the family of twice-born men. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is transcendental to all of them because it has nothing to do with anything mundane. So the inquiries are very intelligent and relevant. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta namine prasannaya prashantaya tasmai Shri Gurave namaha Bhagavad Vandanam Kadhyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatihi Visheshataha Adadana Strinam Danter Idam Yachi Punaha Punaha Śrīmad-Rūpa Padamboja Dhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatusmyaham Sadadasu Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Karomishvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here we see various inquiries from Shonaka Rishi asking Suta Goswami to explain the history of how the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam was compiled. We will see later on in the second canto of the Bhagavatam how the original Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is called Chatushloki Bhagavata, 4 essential verses of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam spoken directly by Lord Krishna to Brahma, the creator of the universe. Then we see how the Bhagavatam was given by Lord Brahma to his disciple, Narada Muni. Narada Muni explained the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to his disciple Veda Vyasa or Vyasadeva. And then during that time, when Maharaj Parikshit was cursed to die within 7 days, Shukadev Goswami explained the message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam to Maharaj Parikshit on the banks of the Yamuna or Ganga. Many of the participants, many of the attendees in that great recitation of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam for 7 days were highly elevated sages who had come down from higher planets and also from all corners of this planet. One of these great sages, Shonaka, Suta Goswami, also heard the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from Shukadev Goswami. So now what we have here is the 60,000 sages of Naimisharanya, that special sacred site, holy site in northern India. They had assembled to do a special fire sacrifice for the benefit of living beings in the age of Kali Yuga. So these great sages, they have chosen Sonaka Rishi to inquire from Suta Goswami, the foremost sage in that assembly, to explain the Bhagavatam, explain the pious message of Bhagavatam which had been spoken by the great powerful sage Shukadev Goswami. It is described, Suta Suta Mahabhaga Vadano Vadatam Vara. Mahabhaga means the most fortunate. Why is he considered most fortunate? Because he had the opportunity, Suta Goswami had the opportunity to directly hear the message from Shukadeva Goswami. Very, very special event. And here in that assembly, Prabhupada is describing the members of the assembly were eager to hear the text of Bhagavatam uttered by Shukadev Goswami. They're not interested to hear Bhagavatam from a bogus person who interprets in his own way to suit his own purpose. Generally, the so-called Bhagavatam reciters are either professional traders in Bhagavatam, or they are so-called learned impersonalists who cannot enter into the transcendental personal activities of the Supreme Person. Such impersonalists choose some meanings out of Bhagavatam to suit and support the impersonalist views, and the professional traders at once go to the 10th canto to misexplain the most conventional part of the Lord's pastime. Now, this is very popular in India, these professional Bhagavatam reciters. Many of them, what they do is they take 7 days and will recite the entire text of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from beginning to end. And of course, they also charge very nice donations, very nice fees for such purpose. And Prabhupada has criticized this practice, saying that this is not the standard. Śrīla Prabhupada in one lecture, while discussing how to hear Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and how to understand Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, quoted one of those verses that we recite every week before the class. Nastap prayeshu babadrishu nityam bhagavata sevaya. That in order to understand Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, one has to hear the message in the proper manner, by proper service to the person Bhagavata and the book Bhagavata. So this is a very important point. Then the next question comes up. Who is the bona fide person Bhagavata? Prabhupada explains in several places, Shravanam deva kartavyam sarpochistam yatapayaha. He gave the example that milk is very nutritious and nourishing food. But that same milk, if it is touched by the lips of a snake or a serpent, becomes poisonous. So in the same way, for Avaishnava Mukudgirnam Putam Harikatamritam, messages related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead are considered katamritam, very nectarian, very sweet to hear. That is the tendency of pious, serious people. They want to hear this transcendental message, kata amritam. But that same message can be very detrimental if it comes from an Avaishnava. Avaishnava mukudgirnam. What will be the effect? Sarpochistam yatapayaha. If that same Bhagavatam message is heard from impersonalists or Mayavadis, it will have an adverse effect. Just like a person who drinks milk that has been touched by the lips of a serpent. We know from the example of the life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explaining very nicely, Mayavadi Bhashya Hoil Sarva Nash, that if you hear the message of Bhagavatam from Mayavadi, Sarvanash, everything is spoiled. In another place, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained, Mayavadi Oi Krishna Aparadi, that the impersonalists who were denying the form of Lord Krishna, misinterpreting the message of Bhagavatam, what they are doing is charging money for hearing the message of Bhagavatam. This is very, very dangerous. Mayavadi oi Krishna aparadi. Mayavadi means they are offenders at the lotus feet of Krishna. We see in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Śrīla Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has explained in connection with the meeting of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Prakashananda Saraswati in Benares. There are very nice discussion where he explains that the meaning of the Vedanta Sutras is very clear. But when they become misinterpreted, when the sutras become misinterpreted, then it becomes very difficult to understand. In the same way, the message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is very clear. Within the Bhagavatam itself, there are prescriptions. There are different guidelines of how to hear this message, how to systematically understand the message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. One cannot jump like a monkey to the Rasa Lila. This is the tendency. One time we were invited, Guru Kripa Swami and myself, we were in Ranchi, Bihar in 1972, and one of the life members, very nice man, a little sentimental, he invited us to say, we will be having some Rasa Lila celebration. There will be many young girls, many attractive young girls. Why don't you come? You come and dance with them. And we explained to this life member that we do not do this. This is not the standard. Our Guru Maharaj, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, has not taught to hear the message of Bhagavatam or how to hear the message of Rasa Lila in this way. This is not appropriate. We see that many of these professional Bhagavatam reciters, Prabhupada even in this purport very nicely explains, some of them are learned impersonalists. They will be big Sanskrit scholars, very learned in various shastras, very learned in Vedanta philosophy, but they have not heard the Bhagavatam from the person Bhagavatam. We have discussed before, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Jagannath Puri, one of his foremost assistants was Swarup Damodar Goswami. Swarup Damodar Goswami, nobody could approach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and present any literature or any statement to Lord Chaitanya without being first checked by Swarup Damodar Goswami. So one person one time came, he wanted to present some writing that he had composed to Lord Chaitanya. Swarup Damodar reviewed the writing and explained to him, Bhagavata Diya Bhagavata Stanit, that if you want to understand the message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and present the message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, you have to hear from a Bhagavatam person, from a Bhagavata devotee. This is very important. Those who are not in the proper line of disciplic succession, who manufacture their own conclusions, who deviate from the standard of the Acharya, who manufacture and invent their own interpretations, those persons cannot understand Bhagavatam. We see this. This is very, very important to understand. Some person may say, well, we don't have that situation here in America. I say, oh, yes, you do. Everybody does. Because the message of Bhagavatam that was given by Śrīla Prabhupāda has been adulterated by persons with personal motivation. We've often discussed the great danger of this pratishta asha, the desire for love, puja pratishta, profit, adoration, and distinction. Very dangerous enemies of a prospective devotee. To understand spiritual life, that there are enemies in spiritual life, and these enemies are always present. Can the microphone be heard? Can the sound be heard? Something fell off here. Can you hear me? Yes?
Very good.
Yes,
So
it's back.
one has to be aware of these great enemies of a devotee. And this tendency toward this pratishta is very detrimental for a devotee. Many of our great acharyas, such as Bhaktivedanta Thakur, Raghunath Das Goswami, have given very beautiful explanations of the great enemies of a practicing devotee, a sadhaka. It is not that one becomes a devotee, puts on tilak, shaves the head, puts on a dhoti and kurta, and all the problems are solved immediately. It doesn't work like that. One has to work to very carefully eliminate all these anarthas, all these unwanted things. In the Bhagavatam itself, it is described, anartho pasamam sakshat bhakti yogam madhokshaje lokasya janato vidvans chakre sattvata samhitam. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is also called Sattvata Samhita, the perfect literatures in the mode of goodness, the topmost literature where everything is given about God, Krishna, his personality, his qualities, his pastime, his activities, his abode, his incarnations, how this world comes about, how the world is created, what is the position of living entities. Everything is given in great detail. So one has to use his God-given intelligence to weed out these mundane desires. So somebody may say, oh, but I follow the principles, the regular principles. That's very good. That is excellent. But one also has to be on guard against these subtle desires for name, fame, power, position, prestige, aggrandizement. So many problems. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 19, the instructions of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Śrīla Rupa Goswami, there is the explanation of the Bhakti Lata Bij, how a living entity who is fortunate can acquire the association of a bona fide guru, bona fide spiritual master, and by the mercy of Krishna receive the Bhakti Lata Bij from the spiritual master. But there's a warning. Śrīla Prabhupada warns that if one is not fortunate to receive the Bhakti Lata Bij, or the seed of devotion from the bona fide spiritual master, instead he cultivates the karma bij, the jnana bij, or the social, political, or philanthropic bij. And how do we get this bija? One has to learn to hear, follow the rules and regulations, and hear the message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita. There was one lecture where Śrīla Prabhupada warned the devotees. He says, don't try to become a better Paramamsa than your Guru Maharaj. Prabhupada says, I come to class morning and evening. I listen to the class. I participate in the class. So morning and evening you have to listen, to hear the message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Very important. Just recently, Venkat Bhatta Prabhu, who is now in Tirupati with Krishna Kishore from Mexico, they're having a big Samkirtan party there, chanting, dancing, distributing books in Tirupati. Very nice. So these devotees, they are distributing the message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. They are following the instruction of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and distributing the message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So Venkat Bhatta Prabhu has formed like an internal group within Prabhupada Disciples Association with a few devotees to help with the websites, with the production of on Facebook, YouTube, to increase the distribution of the message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Just like in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, Vishwakarma Prabhu has one or two devotees who are helping him to try to bring about a 24-hour TV channel of Prabhupada nectar. Prabhupada Amrita, the nectar from Śrīla Prabhupada of lecture, japa, classes, so many constant nectarian classes. We will also be producing some special events, special topics that we will discuss in very nice sections that anybody can understand. Right now, we are working, Vishwakarma Prabhu and myself, what is the soul and what is the destination of the soul, which is a topic which many great philosophers, great intellectual religionists have discussed for thousands of years. And Śrīla Prabhupada has very nicely summarized this topic in his books, in his purport and instruction. It's called Atma Tattva, the science of the soul, how to understand what is the soul, what is the body, what is the difference, what is the destination, what happens after death, why is it that we see so many differences in different human societies, so many different situations, auspicious situation, not so auspicious situation, so many varieties of life, so many different clear explanations given by Śrīla Prabhupada. So we will be discussing these things. So thank you very much, everyone, for participating and always engage in hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Haribol, glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. Thank you very much, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, because it is our commitment or conviction that the integrity of the message of spiritual life must be carefully protected. It is never to be altered or changed by anyone. This is the principle of disciplic succession. And today's purport, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, you read this section. I'm going to just refer to one paragraph or one sentence in it, I should say. They are not interested, people that are seeking spiritual life, Prabhupada said, they are not interested to hear Bhagavatam from a bogus person who interprets in his own way to suit his own purpose. It's a very deep statement that Prabhupada is making with so much meaning for us in terms of our practice of spiritual life. And we all want to get the most out of Krishna consciousness as possible. And we don't want, none of us want anything to be diluted by other people, as was the case in the situation with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, Prabhupada's spiritual master, that the organization that he set up after his departure, things were changed by the members. This is what happened. And this was very unfortunate because they did it for their own personal purposes, as Yaśodā-nandana referred to in today's discussion. And I wanted to read a section from a letter that Prabhupada had posted to us. Let's see if I can get to it here. About change, because there is a disease that Prabhupada refers to as the change disease, which is a symptom of many people thinking that this is something that Prabhupada missed when he presented the philosophy, and then they have to change it in order to make it contemporary. ISKCON leaders have changed everything. This is total madness, according to the Bhagavatam. This is why we don't listen to ISKCON and their offensive policies in terms of Prabhupada's mission. Our God brothers have ruined our mission because of their own personal, mundane goals. It is heartbreaking to see this great movement ruined by whimsical behavior of mostly ambitious, low-class devotees. Especially, we know of Keith Ham, Dave Amrita, and other members of that group, the mental speculators who coined the phrase post-Prabhupada books that Bhakti Marg in Canada now follows, and many other people. Change the books. We're going to deal with them in various ways. Enough is enough. The time is now. So Prabhupada says in a letter, no change means that it is perfect knowledge. So we follow that no change policy. No change policy. No, not that because I think I have become now advanced, I change this to that. That means I'm not advanced. Now, this is Prabhupada speaking, not myself, please. Prabhupada, we repeat only, we don't change. Now Harinam is not curing, so let me add instead of Hare Krishna, John Krishna, Prabhupada says. If I may, no, John Krishna. That same Hare Krishna must be repeated, not concocted, everyone. And you will be cured. So change means imperfect knowledge. It's simple logic, everyone. So we follow the no change policy, Prabhupada says. No, not that because I think I have become more advanced. I change this to that. That means I'm not advanced. For example, 434, the Bhagavad Gita. They changed from he has seen the truth. When we first memorized that, Prabhus, it was he has seen the truth. One day I'm reading the Gita, it goes, they have seen the truth. Why did they change it from he to they? Why? Because they were trying to justify the elected guru system that they introduced in the ISKCON movement according to their changed books. It's in Shastra, it says it. They have changed the books. That means the knowledge is imperfect. Prabhupada again, my knowledge is imperfect. Therefore, I am changing. You will find that one who is a very experienced medical practitioner, he gives you a prescription. And you visit him again and again, and he gives you the same prescription. Unless you are cured, his prescription is so nice that he doesn't change it. This is not the formula that Prabhupada taught us. And we're supposed to read these instructions and letters and information and understand the message thoroughly, not concoct or change it to suit our own personal motives. Petty, actually very petty. But a non-experienced physician, every time you go, he will change the prescription. That's like these people that have joined a movement and they want to enter into the guru business. So you change it so you can make more money. This is the disease, and ultimately this medicine will cure. So let them repeat that medicine. So this is the platform. So Prabhupada's very carefully explaining to us in these pages of Bhagavatam and in his letters and his instructions. So someone could say, well, how come you bringing this up? Because it's critical to understand Krishna consciousness properly. It's not just concoction. And people change everything. Like yesterday at in ISKCON Toronto, there have been pujaris that have been serving the deities there for 40 years. 40 years. And this morning I received a phone call that there was a wedding being held in the temple yesterday afternoon. So we all know that the deities have a specific regulation for their service. So that after the evening or the noon prasadam, they take rest. And the GBC man and his assistant told the pujaris they wanted the doors to be left open after the noon prasadam, and the deities would not take rest because there was going to be an Indian marriage ceremony in the temple room, and they wanted the doors to be open so these people could sit there, have the ceremony, and eat the prasadam. The pujari, after 40 years, he said, this is against the principles of the deity system that Prabhupada introduced. And they've been practicing for 40 years. They closed the doors and put the deities to sleep. And then the GBC man and his assistant came up and took the pujari and told them, open the doors. And they opened the doors and exposed the deities who had been taking rest to this so-called wedding ceremony paid by a group of individuals. And while they carried on with the ceremony and ate the prasadam in front of the deities, completely against all the rules, this type of change went on just as we speak today. This is not something we're making up. This is not good. This is against Prabhupada's instructions. This is against every kind of rule. What to speak of the change of the books, the change of the kirtans, the change of everything. This change disease has to stop if the movement wants to maintain its potency. Otherwise, it'll go away. That is the reality. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, please. Microphone.
This is a very troubling sign of what happens when somebody starts to compromise the philosophy for money-making or popularity. Prabhupada had warned about this. There are many warnings about this in Prabhupada's books, in Prabhupada's teachings. We've seen in India, originally the land of Dharma, the Bharat Bhumi is also called Punya Bhumi, very pious land because Krishna was born there, Lord Rama was born there, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the great acharyas, so many sacred places like Mathura, Ayodhya, Vrindavan, Rameswar, Jagannath Puri, Dwarka, everywhere there's a sacred river. But in this sacred land, due to the influence of Kali Yuga, so many contaminations come about, so many concoctions by persons claiming or purporting to follow Sanatan Dharma or Bhagavata Dharma. They invent so many things for money making. This is what Prabhupada is warning in this purport, that one has to hear from a person who is properly situated, following the Bhagavata principles, not a professional reciter who is simply after money. Now, we don't like this idea of pointing out or criticizing some devotees, but when there are offenses being committed against the deity, when there are disobediences committed against the order of the spiritual master, the standard of the spiritual master, it has to be spoken out. It has to be spoken out. It has to be exposed. Prabhupada wrote a letter in 1973 that the greatest danger to our movement will come when we invent new ways of worshiping the deity. This is commonly known in every temple. Just like, let me give you an example. A couple of months ago, Bhakta Ron, he is in Sacramento, and he has some friends in the Fiji Indian community in Modesto, California, about 2 hours, an hour and a half south of Sacramento. And he told me to go visit one temple that is managed by some Indian of Fiji descent. So I went there, but I arrived there like at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And the temple was closed. The deity doors were closed. The temple was closed. There was a Brahmin, a Ramanuja Vaishnava Brahmin. So I asked him when the deity is open. And he says, Bhagavan Shayan. I mean, Bhagavan is taking his nap. He is resting in the afternoon. This is commonly known in all the temples. In Sri Rangam, all the big temples, all the Vaishnava temples, this is the standard. But now we have a new standard. For money, anything can be changed. So this is what Prabhupada is talking about in this purport. Personally motivated persons who invent their own ways of worshiping the deity, who invent their own way of trying to follow. I'm going to leave it at that, but this is a very important point. Very important point. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Well, you know, the point is, Prabhu, is that we want to somehow or other unify our efforts into a group of potent devotees who can help others understand what is the real meaning of disciplic succession. That's the idea. It is a very important part of our philosophy because we all relish reading Prabhupada's unchanged books. There's something special in these books, and I know that the devotees here in this area truly relish constantly studying the books from the pure devotee, enjoying his classes and listening to the philosophy. There's a special magic in it. There's a magic in this process. But if it becomes adulterated, it will not affect the hearer properly. And this is the important part of this principle that we must follow. For example, the surgeon. The surgeon is precise in dealing with the cancer, not sort of precise. My surgeon, when he was doing my operation for cancer, I had 5 cancer operations in recent times, and he reassured me, I will not make a mistake. He's a renowned surgeon from the McMaster University Cancer Clinic. He's the head of one of the heads of the department. And he spoke with utter confidence to us, to me. And I felt reassured. Yes, he's expert. So Prabhupada is the expert surgeon. He knows how to cut out the disease of material life in the heart of the disciple. It's not just whimsical. And that's why we always stress, Prabhu's, the Vani incarnation. This is a transcendental movement. This is not a mundane movement. It's a transcendental movement. And transcendental means beyond time and space. Eternal. The eternal message of Krishna consciousness, which emanates through the lips, through the voice of the pure, transparent, via media, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. This is our philosophy. This is what we were taught when we first started into this movement, and that's what we'll continue to propagate to future generations of people aspiring to get out of this material body and material conditioning of the material world. Bile, mucus, stool, urine. That's this body. It is just a terrible place. Prabhupada said it's a bad deal for the spirit soul. A bad deal. So we have with us a very good devotee. I was speaking to him yesterday in Hawaii. He's my friend now, very much so, and very serious devotee of this mission, Prabhupada's mission, Jonas Priya. And I would like him to say a few words to us in terms of his realizations on these matters of maintaining the integrity of Prabhupada's message. Jonas Priya. I know he's there. I think he is. I hope he didn't go. I know sometimes people, let's see. Appears that he's left our group for the moment due to other situations. Oh, there he is, Jonas Priya. Prabhu, can you hear me in Hawaii? Very interesting. Let's call upon Dr. Ram Raghava. Maybe he could share a few points if he can get away from the kitchen rolling the chapatis. I'm just guessing. Haribol?
Prabhu, Haribol, this is Eunice Prabhu.
Oh, yes.
He is sick, and I
Oh.
won't be able to talk, so he's in bed right now resting. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna, Haribol.
Jonas
Haribol.
Priya,
Oh.
there he is. Thank you, Mother.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
Yes.
Yes, I was just thinking about this whole incident you were relating in Toronto, and we could
Yes.
see how this Mayavad understanding of Krishna has infiltrated the so-called gurus and directors of ISKCON. Since when it's okay to inconvenience Krishna to accommodate some wedding ceremony? I mean, that's just like so ridiculous. So we could see that these people they have lost all sense. They have no understanding of the basic philosophy that we're here to serve Krishna. And we don't gonna inconvenience Krishna, which we believe the deity is Krishna. We're not Mayavadis. If you're a Mayavadi, then you don't care. To you, the deity has become a statue. So this is the mentality they have. So they think inconvenience Krishna to accommodate a customer that is going to pay some money. That's okay. What would Prabhupada tell these people who said, rascals, demons? So we have to understand that these things are going on, but we have to denounce these people openly so people become aware. So I think I'd like to know the name of the GBC and the Pujari, and I'll make some noise. Why? Because Krishna will be pleased. Prabhupada will be pleased. If we don't expose these rascals, then they're going to keep on going and going and going. And this is how things are done. We have to start chiseling away their Mayavadi ways till they totally become destroyed. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you very much for that comment. And I wanted to clarify further for everyone. It seems controversial what we're bringing up. It appears to be, like you're saying, and we're pinpointing something. Now, we could ignore it. Okay, fair enough. And a lot of people, that's what they do. When you're in a particular situation, because it might be controversial, and you would become the target, like in some cases, we become targets. Oh, who are you to say anything? Look what you did in the past. Sure, we all made mistakes in life. That's one of the defects. Everyone makes mistakes. As I mentioned at the earlier part of our discussion today, there are 4 defects. One is to commit mistakes. Who in this world does not make mistakes? It's a karmic situation. You have certain realities. You are going to fall down. You're going to have difficulty. Yes, we all accept that. But we don't want to kill the mailman. And the fact of the matter is, when you are presenting facts, that is not fault finding. If you have any legal mind, you'll understand. When you go in the court of law, you present the facts. Oh, the person killed somebody. What's the proof? Well, they did this or that. It's not that you just make an accusation and there's no evidence to support it. Like we're bringing up these current issues, because this is a dynamic, real philosophy. It is not something that is simply sentimentally accepted by people. This is not a sentimental movement, Prabhus. This is a factual movement. This is a real situation that we're bringing up, not to pinpoint that person. That's not the point. The point is, there are rules and regulations that are supposed to be followed according to the directions of the pure devotee. And when people don't follow them, and they're actually offending Krishna by their behavior, eating in front of the deity, everyone knows that. Disturbing the deity when they're having rest for the sake of a marriage? What kind of nonsense is that? So are we bringing it up to find fault? No, we're bringing it up to expose the truth, that this is a real problem that's going on. And there are thousands of these examples, thousands. Like recently, I showed the picture of Sulochan on Facebook after he had been shot twice in the head. Very interesting. That was the evidence that was put in the court. Is it fault finding? You shouldn't bring that up, Vishwakarma. Who do you think you are? I didn't bring it up. I didn't take the picture. I didn't commit the murder. All I'm doing is presenting the evidence. If you can't accept it, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend your intelligence, so-called intelligence. This is the reality of these matters. The facts are the facts. This is not fault finding. When you change the message of the pure devotee, when you change his instructions, when you do these things, you are destroying the integrity of this movement. And this is something that cannot be tolerated by the bona fide disciples of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. Yaśodā-nandana, we're at the end of our program tonight, or this morning. It's 11:27. Maybe you could share a few final comments before we move to the kirtan. Your microphone, please.
Before I do that, you have a few people on the call that you may want to have addressed the issue briefly. One of them is Puranjan. Another of them is Narasimha, but I don't know if if his microphone or his audio system is available. So you may request either one of them to speak.
Puranjana Prabhu, are you here with us? Maybe you could share a few comments before we go to the kirtan. I don't see him, Prabhu.
Yeah, hi, Bill. Here I am.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
The artist.
I just got contacted by a professional movie company. They're going to make a 2-hour movie. They're going to feature me in the movie. It's not going to be on television. It's going to be a worldwide, put into movie theaters worldwide. And they're going to address the whole ISKCON controversy. The movie is called Monkey on a Stick. But anyway, they watched the Peacock version of ISKCON history, and they said that we're not going to allow that to happen this time. We're going to let you speak, and they said the Peacock version, no GBC were harmed in the process of making this movie, so they didn't like it. But anyway, it just shows that people are still interested in these topics. Everybody thinks this is going away. The history of ISKCON will be forgotten and we can just move on. It's not going to happen. We have to address what happened and why it happened and what did Prabhupada really want. That's the main idea. We need to convince people this is not what Prabhupada wanted. He did not appoint successors, and unfortunately we have to bring this out. But Prabhupada said the same thing about the Gaudiya Math. It's very unfortunate that we have to redo this history, but we have to explain this history so that people can understand. And he did. When we were in India, he just went over and over and over the Gaudiya Math and how many problems that developed from that. So anyway, we'll see, but I'll keep you updated as I find out more. But they're really on it. They're really interested. They really love my story, and it just shows that people are interested in these things. But regarding the marriage thing, that first of all, people who have been 40 years in ISKCON have been eating boga offered to conditioned souls. They're not eating prasadam. That is not prasadam. And that was my first complaint. I said we can't offer food to Jayatirtha. That will not be accepted by Krishna. Everybody's going to be eating boga. And not only that, if you offer food to a conditioned soul, it takes the quality of that conditioned soul. So all Jayatirtha's people got into drugs, and all Hantadutta's people got into guns. The followers will reflect the consciousness of who they're offering to. And a lot of, obviously, homosexuals infiltrated into ISKCON because they were eating food offered to homosexuals and so on and so forth. So this is another important point. These pujaris, they don't even, first of all, know what is prasadam, which is like a basic ABC, principle of ISKCON. You have to eat food offered exclusively to the pure devotee. Okay, Haribo.
Thank you very much. Yaśodā, one last comment for us before we go to the kirtan, please.
I guess the major point here to learn from all of this is Prabhupada has given a standard of teaching and philosophy and behavior. And it's up to us, all of us, to practice, to chant, to read, to offer a foodstuff to Krishna, to distribute books of Śrīla Prabhupada, and not to change or adulterate the teachings. This is the very important point to come from all these discussions. Hare Krishna.
Okay, so we'll invite everyone to come on Wednesday evening, Chaitanya Charitamrita reading and discussion. We started right at the beginning, and we've been reading every word under the guidance of our leader of these sessions, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. It's fantastic. Methodically going through every word, every transliteration, every meaning, every sentence, thoroughly discussing the books for our own spiritual development. So this is the proper method of practicing Krishna consciousness, and we want to request the forgiveness of everyone. If we've offended anyone, that is not our intention. We do apologize humbly in this process of devotional service and sadhu sangha, association with devotees, to remain humble servants of Lord Chaitanya. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. Please chant along with the Hare Krishna mantra, and we'll carry on with this mission this year, 2024, presenting Krishna consciousness in the best way that we can. Haribol.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Vijay Pandit Prabhu, come va, come va?
Bene,
Molto bene.
sì, molto bene, sto uscendo in Sankirtan, vado a distribuire un po' di libri.
Oh, very nice. Hare Krishna. Vijay Pandit Prabhu is distributing books in northern Italy. Very, very nice.